Some believe there's incredible momentum for legalizing medical marijuana in Latin America. Among them, Sanho Tree. He's director of the Drug Policy Project at the Institute for Policy Studies.
Absolutely. This has been building for several years now. And what really set it off was Uruguay legalizing cannabis domestically, and full regulation of it. And then Colorado and Washington states in the United States in 2012, and then followed by Oregon and Alaska and Washington, D.C. And so the U.S. had been the global drug cop enforcing the tough war on drugs. And now we have nowhere to go to lecture other countries about what they can and can't do. So there's a lot of pushback from the hemisphere saying, we've suffered the results of this drug war for decades, and we've frankly had enough of it. And so they're looking at different ways to control drugs, to regulate them, rather than criminalize and create a black market that enriches cartels.
So talk to me, I know that you just returned from a big meeting where it was basically a global sit-down on this issue. Is the Western Hemisphere moving in one direction and other parts of the world going elsewhere?
Absolutely. The Western Hemisphere and Western Europe are showing the way out of this drug war quagmire, whereas there are other countries like Russia, China, Indonesia, Malaysia, a lot of the Arab states are pushing and going the other direction and thinking they can, being tougher is the way to deal with this problem. So I think the international global drug treaties are shown to have been, are basically supported by a false consensus. That consensus is shattered now. So we're seeing two different worlds develop.
So talk to me about Colombia and Mexico, because we think so much about drug cartels in those two countries. How does this impact those cartels?
It's going to hurt them, because what we're talking about at the end of the day is essentially minimally processed agricultural commodities. Whether we're talking about cannabis, cocaine, heroin, these things are easy to produce. The plants that they come from are easy to grow. There's nothing exotic about them. It's the criminalization and the risk premium that allows the drug traffickers to make vast, vast fortunes. So that's the counterintuitive part of solving the drug war. The harder we clamp down, the tougher the sentences, the higher the risk premium you build into this product, so that the value of these commodities snowball as it reaches the final market. And that's where all the money comes from. And there really shouldn't be any money there. There should be very little bit.
Is there a domino effect when you hear the Mexican president saying what he's saying? You talked about Uruguay. You see these states in the United States shifting, Canada talking about legalization in perhaps 2017. Is it just a domino effect where you're just going to see it going, spreading like wildfires, so to speak?
Yes, and this November, there'll be several states in the United States, among them California, Nevada, other big states that'll have this on the ballot. And so voters are going to legalize marijuana for adult recreational use in many different states now. And it's snowballing across the hemisphere. Many other countries in South America have already decriminalized personal possession of drugs for a very long time now. So that if you believe that drug addiction and abuse causes harm to the individual, what sense does it make for the state to punish them, to hurt them even more through criminalization?
Cannabis is medicine. Seen a lot of this in the Eastern medicine. Is it coming to the West? Are we going to see a lot of that?
Yes, especially since the research on cannabis-based medicines is being liberalized now. We're finally able to study this. For the longest time, it was extremely difficult to get DEA permission for researchers to actually study this. And only then, if you were, it made clear from the outset you were doing this to make it look bad. That's the only way they would grant you permission in the past. But now, because of things like PTSD and other ailments, epilepsy and other things, there is an outcry for more research in this area.
So great to have you on the broadcast. Thanks so much.
My pleasure.